live, yes. I'm just giving it a second. If you're tuning in live, let it come on. Facebook always takes a little while. So, good evening and welcome to... I've got a bit of a cough tonight, so if I'm coughing a lot, it's because I've got a bit of a cough. Welcome to my show tonight. It's been a very up and down few days because we've had a full moon and a lunar eclipse at the same time, and some of you might not recognise the relevance of that, but those who do will know how much upheaval happens when you go through something like that, both emotionally, mentally and so on. It's a time for reflection. It's a time to get rid of the things that are not working for you and start focusing on the things that do, and start really creating things that actually work for you in your life. So it's a really good time. It's auspicious, and you know, when with the right approach to this kind of situation, you can create whatever you truly want from that. So it's a very good time to start afresh and new things, new projects and so on, if you're looking to start creating something new with your life, a new beginning, so to speak. And you know, yeah, it's difficult to go through, but when you come through the period, it's actually quite liberating is probably the word I'd say. So it's a good thing. So I'm going to talk about tonight the difference between an amazing man and an average man. Okay, but before I do, I just want to highlight the fact that I'm still working one-to-one with people. I'm just in the middle of a rebrand. You might well have seen some of my stuff that I've posted recently is more aimed towards men in particular. And yeah, I've started working as a men's coach specifically. I still work with women. I have actually got female clients still, but I'm focusing more specifically on working with guys. Because I feel there's a bit of a gap there. You know, there's not too many guys, men's coaches out there who work with men who in a way which resonates with men, because a lot of guys turn their nose up at coaching and so on because they feel that it's more effeminate and so on. So there is that gap in the market, and I'm going to highlight that tonight. Really, this is one of the things I really wanted to speak about. And you know, when I talk about amazing men versus average men, this sort of highlights why I'm doing what I'm doing in terms of my rebrand. So when you think of men like Elon Musk, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, who's now gone, but you know, amazing guy, and what he did with, you know, the time he was here. You know, when you think of those sort of people, do you think of men who are weak in their nature, weak-natured sort of guys, effeminate sort of guys, at odds with themselves mentally and emotionally, struggling to find the balance in their lives, lacking in confidence? Do you think of those sort of people as those sort of guys? Or do you see men who are extremely successful in every area of their lives, happy, confident, striving forward, and creating new things all the time, and really, you know, moving forward in every area of their life consistently? You know, what makes the difference when it comes to all-round personal success in your life and extraordinary achievement above and beyond the rest of us mere mortals who just sort of go through life and do what we've got to do, and that's it really, but never really go to that next level of potential? What makes the difference between those sort of people and us? You know, why are some people able to find that balance, clarity of decision, while others can't, and end up simply struggling through life and losing sight of where they really want to be going in life, and just settling for life, and never truly fulfilling their real potential in life? We you know, kidding ourselves, telling ourselves that we're not really able to do it, and I'm not intelligent enough, you know, I haven't got the education, I haven't got the background, or whatever it is that we tell ourselves that stops us actually creating things that we truly want. What's the difference? So I recently watched an interview on YouTube between Piers Morgan, who I'm not a massive fan of, I must admit, but it is interesting to watch. And I watched Piers Morgan interviewing Jordan Peterson. And during that interview, Morgan asked Peterson if it was true that recently Cristiano Ronaldo had paid for him to fly in his private jet for a 2-hour coaching session. And it's nice if you can afford to do that. It'd be lovely to find. Oh yeah, I'll just get Jordan Peterson to fly in and for a couple of hours, have a cup of tea, and shoot the breeze and find out what's going on, and have a bit of a coaching session. That would be great, but unfortunately we haven't all got that sort of money. But however, when asked this question, Peterson, by Morgan, whether it did actually occur, he confirmed that it did. And Morgan asked him, why would someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, who's arguably one of the most successful men on the planet in, sports, but in other areas too, he's really, really successful. So why would someone like that go to the extremes of hiring a private jet and flying in Jordan Peterson to coach him? You'd think, what does he know? What does he need to know that he doesn't know already? He's already got everything that he can imagine and dream of in life. So Peterson's answer there was that Ronaldo was at a point in his life where he was going through a big life transition, and he wanted to talk strategically about his next steps forward. He lost his little baby recently, which was tragic. So it's natural and normal that he's going to be in a position where he's probably re-evaluating his life. He's nearing the end of his career. So he's at a point where he's going through a transition mentally and emotionally. And he's probably trying to work out which direction and how to go in that direction. The best way forward. So a guy like Cristiano Ronaldo wants to think strategically. He wants to work through his different problems as such, or issues, or whatever it may be. But change. We're all going through change. Doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, whoever. We're all going through a transition at some point in our lives, a transformation. So, it's normal that we're always going to, asking ourselves questions. We might lose track of who we were and who we are now, and we get in between that. We get a bit confused and not really know which direction we're going in life, and that can create all sorts of things. It brings up all sorts of problems and issues within us, where we don't necessarily know who we are. It may be, if you're a woman, you're going through the menopause. There's all different times of things changes that we're going through in life, which can throw us off track, and we no longer know which direction we're going in and where we want to be. So it's normal to be in that position, despite the fact that you might be the richest man in the world or whatever. So really, what Cristiano Ronaldo was looking for, he wanted clarity of vision. He wanted organisation of his mind and his behaviours in order to bring about the change that he truly desired and go in the direction that he really wanted to be going in. Now, when people ask, why does anybody hire a mentor or coach? The assumption many people seem to have, and I've encountered this many times, is that anyone who hires a coach or anyone who has to, have a mentor of some sort, or something like that, must be going through some sort of trauma, must be going through some sort of difficulty or struggling in life, both mentally, emotionally. And although in some cases that may well be the case, there's a lot of people who are struggling in those areas who do need support and help, and coaching does indeed help them with that. But the reality is, most people do so. Most people hire coaches or mentors in order to just be at their very best, to be the best versions of themselves. So it's not really a case of I'm struggling, I need help, but more I'm okay, but I want to be better. That's the difference. Therapy, yes, it's more about the past, it's more about your emotions and what you've been through and how you unpack that and deal with that and all of those sort of things. And I think a lot of people do get that confused between coaching and therapy. But coaching really is about empowering yourself and being the best version of yourself, and finding ways and strategic ways to move forward in ways that create or help you create the life that you truly want. So many men avoid help when it comes to their mindsets. And that's because of these limiting beliefs and attitudes that we've built up through our past experience, what we've learned as kids, what our family might have taught us, and so on. old-fashioned restrictive limiting beliefs such as real men just get on with it, things like that. And we'll tell ourselves that as if that's making us strong. I don't have to deal with emotions because I'm hard and I'm strong and I can just get on with it. Yeah, really? Nah, I'm sorry, that's a nonsense. You might pretend that, you might outwardly project that image, but underneath it, you know the truth. That when you're dealing with all of that crap inside, it's not as easy, and that doesn't make you less of a man if you're opening up and dealing with that sort of stuff. And again, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to mean you're struggling. It just means that you're able to reflect upon your mindset and your emotions and able to use them to work for you. That's common sense, is it not? It's like anything. If you're learning to be if you're a footballer, wouldn't you want to be the best version of that footballer you can be? Or would you just settle to be average if you knew that you've got the potential to do it? So, this is all it is with the mindset. It's learning how to create a mindset which works for you consistently and at your very best level. And so that's your answer when you're looking at people like the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Elon Musk and all of those people. These people have already established themselves in the world. They're really successful men and they want to be better. So that's the truth of the matter. They just want to be better. So I ask you this then. Are these high achievers in life, the ones I've just mentioned, are they not real men? Because real men just get on with it, don't they? They don't get a coach. They don't get a mentor. Why do they need it? Because they're tough and hard. They get on with it. They don't need it. So why do they hire them if they're not real men, these guys? Or would you say that they're wise men? Personally, I'd say it's the latter. They're wise men. Because a man who is strong, competent, and able to move forward in control of himself, in control of his mind and his emotions, makes you strong. It doesn't make you weak. They will always want to be at their best, these people. That's why they're successful, because they consistently work on themselves. They're not sitting there resting on their laurels saying, I've cracked it, I don't have to do anything more, I've made my money. No, they want to be better and be stronger and be more confident and more able and create more with their lives and be the best versions they can possibly be. And that's the difference between an amazing man who achieves beyond the imagination and an average man who simply settles in life due to his own self-imposed limitations. Now, if you may not be able to afford to fly Jordan Peterson in, like I said, it'd be lovely if we could, but you can afford to invest in yourself. You can afford that. Anyone can. And if you're saying you can't, it's an excuse, because we can all find that money if we need to invest it within ourselves. Well, not just the money, it's the time, the effort, the dedication, the commitment. There's a lot to think of when you're doing this sort of stuff, because it's not an easy process. It isn't. Otherwise, we'd all do it. We'd all be happy. We'd all be multimillionaires. So the truth of the matter, it does take a lot of work, but we've got the ability to do it. You don't have to fly Jordan Peterson in, but you can still do it even so. And who knows, maybe then one day you'll be able to create the dreams that you have, just like these guys, and create the world as you want it to be. That's the truth. That's the difference between an amazing man and an average man. An amazing man creates the world as he sees it, as he wants to live it. He doesn't just exist in it. Okay, and if you're interested in finding out more about how I actually work with you and how I can help you create the world that you want to live in, get in touch. Have a great evening. See you all next time. See you soon. Bye.